if you remember back to last time, we was able to find the area of a rectangle by either counting the squares inside the rectangle or by multiplying the length by the width. If we go back to the counting squares method, then it's really awkward for this triangle because not all the squares are whole squares. So this here is a whole square, so I can count that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole squares. But how are we going to give this little piece here a value? How are we going to give this little piece here a value? It's not very easy to count squares when we're dealing with certain types of triangles. So we need to think of another way of doing this more effectively. And one way of doing that is by thinking of all triangles as another triangle the same size fitted on to give a full rectangle. Now, if we have a look at this rectangle here, there are two ways now I can find the area of this rectangle. I can literally count how many all squares this rectangle has. So, fairly simple job because they are all whole squares. So altogether on this rectangle here, I will have 18 centimeter squares. Now, if I think about this now, then this shape here also has 18 centimeter squares. But if I now remove this part of it back away so that I've got the original amount, it means now that this triangle here has half of that. So in order to find the area of this here, then we need to find out half of 18 centimeters squared, and half of 18 is 9. So that's one way that we can do this. We can turn it into a full rectangle and cut it in half. Now, how do I apply that then? Well, on this type of question here, we can't actually see the squares, so counting squares is not of much help to us. But if you remember as well, then to find the area of this rectangle, then it's length times the width. So 12 times 4 will be 48 centimeters squared. So the area of this full rectangle here is 48 centimeters squared. Now, if I was to pull out this part of it here and this part of it here, and I just focused on this part of it here, get rid of that now. So I've got this bit of it here. Then this has a base of 12. It has a height of 4 centimeters. Now it's going to be half of the whole rectangle. The whole rectangle is 48. So in order to find the area now of this triangle here, then we would work out half of 48 centimeters squared, and half of 48 is 24 centimeters squared. Now, that's for a right angled triangle. If we have a look at this triangle here, if I pull it out, then you can see that's given me a triangle there, but it leaves me with these two sections here. Now, if I get rid of this bit again, if we have a look at these two sections here, and I move this one to here, and I move this one to here, and I put them together, then you can again see that that whole rectangle forms two equal triangles. So a triangle is always going to be half of the area of a full rectangle. So this is the important bit there. All triangles have a base. All triangles have a vertical height, and that's the most important part of this. It's the height from the base to the top of the triangle, the vertical height. So we never include a diagonal height. So the area of a triangle is always equal to the half of the base times the height, or I prefer base times height and divide the answer by 2. So it's a little bit simpler way of remembering the formula. So let's have a look at some examples then on a formal basis. Here's example 1. We could see on this triangle here, the base of the triangle is 12 centimeters, and here the height of the triangle is 3 centimeters. So in order to work out the area of this triangle, I work out the base times the height, and then I divide it by 2. I halve that. So 6 times 3 first is 12. So the area will be 6 times 3, 18, I beg your pardon, and divide by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So the area of this triangle is 9 centimeters squared. Okay, example 2, a different type of triangle here. We've got a right angle triangle. Okay, we've got a base here of 5 millimeters. And on here, we've got a height of 5 millimeters. So in order to work out the area of this triangle, we do the base times the height. So that's 5 times 5. And then we divide the answer by 2. Now, 5 times 5 is 25. So we can write the following. The area is equal to 25 divided by 2, or half of 25. Hopefully we know how to partition that. Half of 20 is 10. Half of 5 is 2.5. 10 out of 2.5 is 12.5. So the area of this triangle is 12.5. If we have a look at the units, they're both in millimeters. So the area of this triangle is 12.5 millimeters squared. Be a good idea to make some notes of these examples as you're going along. All right, and just one thing to be careful of really on this is a triangle like this. How much information does it give us? Well, it gives us a base. It gives us a height. It also gives us a slanted height. But whenever we want to work out the area of a triangle, then we need to make sure it's the base times the vertical height. So the 8 centimeters here is not required in order to find the area of a triangle, only a vertical height. I will pause the video now and have a go at the main task that I've attached with the instructions today. And once you've done those, you can have a look at my check-in question, which is on the next slide. So here is the check-in question for today's lesson. You can see on this triangle here, it's got a height 7 meters. The base here, we don't know. It's called y in this case. We want to know what the value of y is. And we are being told here that the area of this triangle is 21 meters squared. Pause the video and have a go to see if you can find y. When you're done, play it again to check your solution. Okay, welcome back then. So the area then is the base times the height. So that means it'll be y times 7. Then you're going to divide it by 2. And we are being told that the answer is equal to 21. So we need something to multiply by 7, then divide it by 2 to get an answer of 21. So one of the first things we can do is we can do 2 times 21. So we multiply those through. So we will end up with the following. So we will end up with y times 7 is equal to 42 for 21 times 2. And now we need to work out what do we times by 7 to make 42. Well, 6 times 7 makes 42, so y is equal to 6. In this case, y is equal to 6 meters.